Hey, welcome back to another episode of Simple Truth Television. Today is April 14th, 2022. So let's discuss Mr. Frank James, the alleged terrorist shooter at the Brooklyn subway station, who's supposed to be injured 10 people on April 12th. Just a year later after the death of Dante Wright, who was killed at the Brooklyn Center in Minnesota. So they're saying that today Frank James is supposed to appear in federal court, and they're saying that they're going to charge him with charges, terrorism-related charges. So this is the CNN article that broke today. It says here that the man arrested after a roughly 30-hour manhunt in the shooting of 10 people on a subway train in Brooklyn will make his initial court appearance Thursday, authorities said. Frank James, 62, was charged in federal court with violating a law that prohibits terrorists and other violent attacks against a mass transportation system, said Breon Peace, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. If convicted, he could face life in prison, Peace said. The timing of his appearance in court will be confirmed Thursday morning, according to U.S. Attorney's Office spokesman John Marzulli. CNN has reached out to James' federal defender for comment. The appearance is set to come 2 days after the authorities say that James boarded an N subway train, set off 2 smoke grenades, and then opened fire at commuters during Tuesday's morning rush hour in one of the most violent attacks in the history of New York's subway system. The shooting, which came as the train neared the 36th Street station in Brooklyn Sunset Park neighborhood, left at least 29 people with injuries ranging from gunshot wounds to smoke inhalation. 5 remained hospitalized Wednesday evening. James was initially named a person of interest by the New York City Police Department, but was declared a suspect after investigators determined he purchased the gun left at the scene of the shooting. Police released photos of him and launched a manhunt, which ended early Wednesday afternoon when police took him into custody without incident on Manhattan's East Village. Okay. This is definitely the work of the Jesuit order. But it's just amazing how they do this stuff every year, right? So last year, around the same time, the death of Dante Wright was in the headlines. And he was killed at the Brooklyn Center in Minnesota. And now a year later, we get this mass shooting at a Brooklyn subway station. So let's take a look at the numbers, and then we would expose this and show you guys that it is the Jesuit order behind all this. This was not the work of Frank James. This was the work of the Society of Jesus. Frank James is no more than just an employee, an actor for the Jesuit order. So look at this headline. It says here that the gunman fires 33 times in Brooklyn subway attack, shooting 10 riders. Police said persons of interest identified. So he fired 33 times. What do you know about that number? Especially when it comes to false flags, right? In Gematria, police, false flag, masonry, federal secrecy order, they all equal 33. They always code the number 33 in these false flag incidents. This is why when George Floyd was murdered, they said that the protests began on 33rd Street. Or I think that he was shot at 33rd Street, but it was either the protest began on 33rd Street or he was shot at 33rd Street. One of the two. But they had to put that 33 in there just because of this. This pattern is ongoing and it happens all the time. And to add on to the mockery, New York's governor is a woman named hopefully I say her name right. Kathy Hochul. I think that's how you say it. And she took office. She became the governor of New York on August 24th, 2021, right after the Cuomo resignation for the sexual harassment charges that he was accused of. So she began her term as governor on August 24th, and the shooting in the Brooklyn subway stations took place exactly 33 weeks after she took office. See that? She began as the governor of New York on August 24th, and the shooting took place on April 12th, 33 weeks after she took office. And again, 33 is the number associated with police and false flags, which is this is what that's Brooklyn subway station is a clear false flag incident. And again, masonry, federal, secrecy, order, all 33. Right? This comes 33 weeks after she took office, and then the headline says that he fired 33 times into the Brooklyn subway station. Crazy how they just use the same numbers again and again. And I'm gonna go back to the Dante Wright story, see if there's any 33s in there, cause I don't remember it that much, but I remember it was on around this time that Dante Wright story was breaking news. So let's see if I can find this. There it is. So yeah, April 12th. So just actually, it was exactly a year ago. Amazing. Funny because the Dante Wright story was synced up with George Floyd, and George Floyd's name equals 102, and then the Brooklyn subway station happened on the 102nd day of the year, 102 days after LeBron James' birthday, and happened in Minnesota where the Lakers are from. And the day after, 2 days after, or the day after, the Brooklyn Nets were playing the Lakers in the NBA. So, and look at the mockery, right? So, last year, when the Brooklyn Center shooting happened, the Brooklyn Nets were playing. They were supposed to play the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that game got postponed because of the shooting in Minnesota. I mean, just think about the odds of that. A shooting in Minnesota at the Brooklyn Center, and that same day, the Brooklyn Nets are scheduled to play the Minnesota Timberwolves. And they postponed that game. And guess what? On April 12th of this year, both the Brooklyn Nets and the Minnesota Timberwolves, they both advanced in the play-in rounds on the same day that the shooting happened in the Brooklyn subway station. It's just crazy. But let's just finish off with Kathy and show you guys the synchronicity with her, because this is a big tribute to her. Because again, the shooter shot 33 times into the subway station, and again, this happened 33 weeks after she took office. And notice the name of the shooter, Frank R. James. His name equals 44, like shooting. So perfect name for a shooter. But this also happened 228 days after her birthday. She was born on August 27th, 1958. And the event took place 228 days after her birthday, United States of America, 228 like death. And notice her name is equals 102, just like New York subway shooting. Her name is 102 and 105, like New York subway shooting. She was born Kathleen Courtney Hoku. Hopefully that's how you say her name. So on the 102nd day of the year, we have this big shooting at a New York subway station, synced up with her name and with the amount of weeks it's been since she took office. Isn't that strange? Isn't that strange? And notice this headline that came out on the same day of the shooting. New York Governor Kathy Hochul calls for no more mass shootings after Brooklyn subway attack, right? And they emphasize no more mass shootings because it equals 102, like how this happened on the 102nd day of the year. And that number is also the reflection of 201, a number that connects to the Jesuit order. Remember, George Perry Floyd is also 102 and 201. And this seems to be connected to both the George Floyd incident and the Dante Wright incident. Because the Dante Wright death happened 322 days after the death of George Floyd. You know, the number 322 associated with Skull and Bones. And since this happened around the same time, I guess this happened 322 days after the 1 year anniversary. The New York mayor right now is Eric Adams. I remember there was a big ritual with him on January 9th because on that day of this year, January 9th of this year, there was supposed to be 19 people that died at a New York fire that took place in a 19-story building. I made a video about this the day that it happened. And it was all synced up with Eric Adams, who was born on 9/1 or 1/9. But notice this incident happened 223 days after his birthday in Brooklyn, New York, at 223, like the synagogue of Satan. 223 is also the 48th prime, and Illuminati is 48. But look, another ritual involving Eric Adams. Because look, notice this. When you write out subway in Gematria, it equals 91 and 19, like his date of birth, September 1st or the 1st of September, right? 9/1 or 9 or 1/9. And remember, on January 9th, that's when the 19 people. Why is somebody calling me? Nobody can hear me? Yeah, I'll take calls after I'm finished with the presentation. So, yeah, I'll take some calls in a second. So look at this. There's been multiple rituals around Eric Adams already. He just became the mayor. So look, 19 people dead in a fire on 1/9. Just think about that. So look at this. This was on January 9th, you guys, on 1/9. Bronx apartment building fire leaves 19 people dead, including 9 children. And this took place on January 9th. Like how the mayor, who they bring up in the article, was born on September 1st. And they're saying there was 63 people injured. Number associated with racism, right? Because most of the people that died that day were supposed to be African Americans. I think all 19 were Africans. And right now the governor is 63 years old as well. So, yeah, but this happened 223 days after his birthday. Like Brooklyn, New York is 223, right? Now notice this. This is what I was talking about with Dante Wright. So the day that they killed Dante Wright, the Brooklyn Nets were supposed to play the Minnesota Timberwolves. So what are the odds? Oh my gosh, what are the odds that in the NBA they scheduled those same two teams to play on that day that the Brooklyn subway station shooting happened, and they both win, the Brooklyn Nets and the Minnesota Timberwolves? Like how last year these two teams were involved in a ritual involving Brooklyn and Minnesota. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, they won that game with 109 points. The worst shooting is 109. And in this game, there was 223 points scored in this game against between the Cavaliers and the Nets. 115 plus 108 equals 223. Like how Brooklyn, New York is 223, and how this happened 223 days after the mayor's birthday. And funny enough, the Brooklyn Nets won 44 games this year. Shooting is 44. We just saw how the name Frank R. James is 44 as well. Crazy, right? But look at this. From the death of George Floyd, who died on May 25th, to the April 12th shooting, 98 weeks and 1 day. The name Frank James is 98. There's a bigger riddle here with the NBA. I don't think it means that the Nets are gonna win. I don't think that's what it means. But there's something that I'm missing. Because I remember when I was talking about the NBA Finals, I was talking about a man named Frank, the father of DeMar DeRozan, who is synced up with the NBA Finals this year. And now we have this Frank terrorist, and we spoke about how Frank equals 50. The NBA Finals this year starts on the day with 50 numerology. I know Nets is 50 as well, but there's a bigger riddle here that I'm not putting together yet. So these are the images of Mr. Frank James. Just decided to go into this train station and just shoot people up, And they had him in orange. Orange is synced up with the N word, synced up with police. Orange, police, and the N word are all the same in Gematria. This is why a lot of inmates wear orange after they get arrested by the police. They're pretty much the same, all three of those words. They all equal 102 as well. Like how this took place on the 102nd day of the year. So this is why they had him dressed in orange in this orange vest right here. Such a clear ritual. Gotta have the fake blood in there, right? Make it look realistic. Your crisis actors. Sister of suspect in Brooklyn subway shooting says he's been on his own his whole life. And again, whenever they emphasize phrases and sentences, it's because the gematria. Notice he's been on his own his whole life because 144 like the Jesuit order. Like how today is 14/4, and today is when they come out with the news saying that he is supposed to appear in federal court today on 14/4. But yeah, going back to the Dante Wright. So the shooting that took place last year, it took place at the Brooklyn Center, and notice Brooklyn Center equals the Jesuit order, nearly perfect in all four ciphers. And then they always called 201 in there. Remember George Perry Florida's 201 and 102. And notice the killing of Dante Wright and justice for George Floyd is also nearly perfect. And they both equal 322, like how the killing of Dante Wright came 322 days after the George Floyd murder. How perfect, right? And they both equal 110 like Minnesota, and both of these men were killed in Minnesota. If you guys want to call in, the number is on the screen 646-986-0958. If you guys want to add on to anything that I might be missing, because I feel like there's a deeper riddle with this that I'm not realizing yet. It looks like it is synced up with the NBA, but funny how Dante Wright had the Chicago hat on last year. But I'm not able to piece this stuff together yet. I don't know exactly what's going on. Is this a Chicago Bulls riddle? Is this a Brooklyn Nets riddle? And the reason I say it's a Chicago Bulls riddle is because DeMar DeRozan's father, his name was Frank DeRozan. Here we have another Frank in the headlines. So you might see it, I don't know, maybe the Brooklyn Nets play the Chicago Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals. Who knows? I know the Nets, the Bulls have a hard task in the first round because they're playing the Milwaukee Bucks, the defending champions. But in the rigged NBA, anything can happen. Injuries. Maybe an injury to Giannis could change everything around. So that series looks like it's gonna start on Sunday. Yeah, and the Bucks are 10-point favorites. So, hello.
This is Steve. What up, man?
What's going on?
Yo, I think I'm with you. I call bullshit, but I think what the angle is they trying to have more police enforcement inside the train stations.
And some gun control as well.
Oh, of course. I mean, and I've had a theory about this for a while. I'm back in the day. The rituals were more spaced out without social media,
Hmm.
but now that social media is around, I feel like the rituals are happening more frequently.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because a lot they're able to communicate to people a lot faster, especially with the social media.
Exactly. Exactly. So now we're seeing rituals happen maybe shit. It look like it's happening once a month now.
Well, rituals happen every day, but these mass shootings look like they're happening more often than not. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the one angle I see is they trying to enforce more strict police enforcement inside the subway stations, which back in the day was a issue of contest, and now people are going to welcome it with open arms.
Yep.
So that might be the play. But like I think this is all bullshit.
Well, yeah.
There's
Whenever
no
they have a
way.
big ritual, there's always a reason for it. Because remember when what was it? Michael Brown died. That's when they started having police officers walk around with cameras.
Right. Yep, exactly.
So, yeah, there's always a reason for all this, and
So now, yeah, now,
it's never in our favor. It's always in their favor.
yeah, it's always to get the rules changed in their favor.
Yeah.
But the thing I'm starting to notice now is that it's happening more frequently during the social media era. That it's being more, it's shared more, so it's happening more frequently. I mean, there's no way you could tell me this fat dude in an orange jumpsuit was just able to walk away like that. Like, come on, dog.
Exactly. Yep.
There's no
And
way.
he wasn't even harmed in the train station. Yeah. Come on.
He got out of there scot free.
Yeah.
Scot free. He ain't had no smoke in his eyes or nothing, but he was in the shit with the smoke. Oh, okay, sure. No, okay, yes, white sauce, hot sauce. My bad. Both, please. Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna tune in. But yeah, I smell bullshit from day one.
Absolutely. Appreciate the call. Thanks a lot.
Oh man, holla.
Yeah, he's right. There's always a motive for the government, right? So more laws, more gun control, more surveillance. That's always a reason. But they also like to sync up the sports with this as well, in a way to further mock the people. And they did it with George Floyd. Remember, George Floyd's death was synced up with the NBA Finals because he was 46 years old. That was the same year that the Lakers won the championship, and LeBron became 4-6 in the finals. I know it sounds crazy. Like, why would they have this man synced up with the NBA Finals? Well, that's what they do every year. That's what they do every year. He's 62 years old. The finals is on 6-2. They're saying that Frank James is 62 years old. So last year we had Dante Wright wearing a Chicago Bull. I'm gonna say a Chicago hat. I'm not gonna say it's a Chicago Bulls hat, but his hat did say Chicago on it. And so let's see what you guys think about this. Somebody says that this shit is real. Man from New Jersey. Okay, if it's real, then you shouldn't be watching this video. Why are you watching this video if you think it's real, dummy? Yeah, 200 and was it 218? Yeah, because I remember the Minnesota area code is 218, right? Yeah, the George Floyd killing was a big 218 ritual. Let me see, what was the Minnesota area code? Um, yeah, it is 218. So you see how 218 is a Minnesota area code. The word death is 218. I can't breathe is 218. I can't breathe is 218. And George Floyd said I can't breathe 218 days before LeBron James' birthday. And remember, this was all synced up with Steven Jackson, who was supposed to be his twins. The name Steven Jackson is 218. He was born Steven Jesse Jackson, which is also 218. And this had everything to do with the civil rights movement. Think about Jesse Jackson, the civil rights activist. Civil rights is 218. Or what is it? Civil Rights Act is 218. Right. And again, death is 218. This all happened in the 218 area code. It's just funny how they're able to get all these people to cooperate in these rituals. Like, they must be offering these people a lot of money to put up with this. But on the next 9/11 already happened. It happened on March 11, 2020. So this is not the next March 11th. This is not the next 9/11. The next 9/11 already happened. It was coronavirus. But I guess we could leave it there. I mean, we covered most of it. There's just a deeper riddle that I'm not able to really understand right now. But once I do, I'll definitely come back and talk about it. But I did make a prediction saying that the Bulls might go to the NBA Finals, and I'm sticking by it. Until I see them lose, I'm not gonna go away from that Frank DeRozan riddle. Him dying 67 weeks before the finals. They always sync up, the NBA Finals with the death of the fathers of these players, right? Last year, Giannis Antetokounmpo's father was synced up with the finals. I think a few years before that, when Kawhi Leonard won the NBA Finals, his championship was synced up with his father, who was murdered in Oakland. And we also talked about how, most of the championships that Michael Jordan won were synced up with his father, who was murdered. What was it on? Like 33 days after Father's Day, something like that. So yeah. So I'm not letting this 10-point spread scare me. We'll see at the end what happens with the Bulls. But I just wanted to show you guys that this is all a ritual. The perfect name equals 44. We talk about that number all the time. 33 weeks after the governor takes office. Big false flag number. Her name is 102, like how this happened on the 102nd day of the year. Her name syncs up with the event, the New York subway shooting, and so on and so forth. So just know that this is not the work of Frank James. This was the work of the Jesuit order. This is why they're syncing up their numbers in this ritual. I mean, 102 is just a reflection of 201. So I'll leave it there. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. If there's anything I need to add on, I'll definitely come back. If there's anything that you guys noticed, please leave a comment and let the people read it so we can get a better understanding of what this is all about. I definitely think that gun control is definitely a factor here. And, to control us more. More cameras, more surveillance, more security, less rights for us. Because people want to feel safe. by giving away their rights and liberties. Take care, everybody. I'll see you later.